Over the next 2 weeks, we're putting the Seawind 1160 XL to the test, sailing island to island in some of the most beautiful waters you'll ever see. But this is not just about how she sails, but is this actually the best value for money in performance catamarans on the market? So kick off your shoes for this special edition and come barefoot with us.
This adventure kicked off with a flight from Brisbane to Bangkok, where Adam walked up and introduced himself. We love that. Then full throttle, Bangkok to Trat by plane, an open back taxi to the Koh Chang ferry, another taxi to the supermarkets, and finally Salak Fet Marina, where the Seawind crew were already waiting for
How are you? I'm Craig.
Hi Craig, I'm Ellie. Nice to meet you.
Nice
If you
to
don't
meet
mind
you.
being on. So guys, we have just arrived and we've been meted by the beautiful Kelly and also Richard from Seawind. These guys are the CEO and these are the generous people that have lent us their boat for a couple of weeks. We're all geared up, we've got all the groceries. John said I overcated, which I do, guilty as charged, but I'd rather have too much food than too little. Looks like we're getting going.
Alright, so the adventure doesn't start on the boat. It starts right here, in a slightly underglamorous, low-key, bouncy dinghy ride.
We're very excited to be going out to the 1160 XL for the first time on the water for us.
And depending on the conditions, that can be anything from a gentle cruise to a full-blown saltwater wake-up call. But honestly, this is all part of it. That little shift from land to sea, from normal life to whatever happens next. And today, before we even step on board, we're going to do something a little different. A full rotation around her. Because this isn't just any cruising cat. This is a Seawind 1160 XL, and on paper it promises a lot. Performance, comfort, and the kind of layout that made Seawind catamarans a serious name in this space. But specs are one thing, real-world sailing is something else entirely. So, over the next couple of weeks, we're putting her to the test. Before we head out into the unknown, we've got some seriously good company on board. This is Richard Ward, CEO of Seawind Catamarans, and the guy who knows these boats better than anyone. And this is Kerry, his wife, and just as important, these are the guys making sure we actually know what we're doing out here. Because over the next couple of days, they're showing us the ropes, literally. Everything from handling to systems to what really makes the Seawind 1160 XL tick. Because tomorrow, they leave us to it. And from that point on, we are on our own. And out here in the Koh Chang region. Out here, things feel different. This is the Koh Chang region. 52 stunning islands make up this archipelago, where dense jungles spill straight into the ocean, and every horizon looks like it's hiding something exciting. And honestly, we have no idea what we're about to find. No plan locked in, no polished itinerary, just a direction and the kind of curiosity that usually leads to the best kind of stories. But this isn't just another stop on the map, because when you take delivery of a Seawind 1160 XL straight from Vietnam, this right here is where it all begins. No filters, no showroom conditions, just real wind, real water, and whatever these islands decide to throw at us. Shallow reefs, shifting anchorages, and changing weather. And the chance that around any corner, there's something incredible waiting. This isn't just a delivery. It's the first test, the first taste of how this boat really performs in real life.
We are so excited to get going. We raise the main, feeding it between the lazy jacks, and then drop the mooring.
We should be able to do it one-handed. Okay, we're free.
Then with the jib and the main up, we can't wait to see how she really performs. On this first sail, the true wind is around 13 to 14 knots and our boat speed is 7 knots, sailing on a square reach, which is the best angle for sailing. The boat cuts through the water beautifully with thin hulls and reverse bows. We are towing the dinghy, which will significantly reduce our speed, so 7 knots is really very good. The high crossbeam on the bow and the high underwing clearance will also help the upwind performance, remembering that our hull speed, which is the maximum speed achievable without planing, is only 8.4 knots, and we are almost there already. So we continue to sail between 7 and 8 knots on this square reach until we arrive at Co Y, pick up another well-maintained mooring and pack away the sails.
Beach, everywhere.
As is typical in the sailing community, we take the dinghy over and say hello to our sailing neighbours, who are happy to share information about the area and, of course, their beautiful boats. Everyone ends up together for sundowners, and we all head off to the beach restaurant for another fantastic meal at amazing prices.
Hi guys, so we are here in Thailand on the Seawind. It's absolutely beautiful. We had a really beautiful night's sleep last night. And dedication to you guys, John is been up early this morning and is smashing out a video for you guys so that you don't think something's happened to us or...
Smashing one out sounds like it happens quickly. It doesn't happen quickly.
It doesn't happen quickly, but anyway, there's dedication for you guys. So we're here, we're really excited. We're just about to have some breakfast. And actually, a lovely surprise. We are here with Richard and Kerry. So Richard is the CEO of Seawind, and he initially came to show us the ropes, pardon the pun, and decided to stay on overnight. And last night we went out to a restaurant just over there, and they're with us for a couple of days. So it absolutely has been awesome. We get to know the boat, and
from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, which is really super cool. I mean, Richard designed these boats, which is just awesome. So we're about to have breakfast, but we thought we'd just say hey and also say thank you for your patronage. Look at my hair. I mean, this is kind of boat hair, right? I'm allowed to do this. I look like a rooster.
It looks better from the side.
Does it?
Yeah.
Have a look from the side. Here we go.
I think that looks pretty good from the side.
Well, this morning I've been up and I've been meditating and I've been doing some yoga at the front, and it's just been divine. I'm hoping jelly, because it is really worth being jealous over.
And this area of Thailand is very little known, actually. Koh Chang area, phenomenal beaches, coral islands, great restaurants and everything. And there's very few boats here because people only seem to go to the other side.
Well, it's really crowded. But over here is like the best kept secret. It's just awesome. Anyway, Richard is cooking up a storm in the kitchen, and in the galley, I should say. We're back on a boat, and we're about to taste the produce. Thailand fruit, and we've got some toast and some yogurt. Surprised we could get the yogurt here, but anyway, it seems to be
Australian. It was Australian yogurt, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Even that said Greek.
Well, yeah, it's Greek. It's made in Australia.
Of course it is.
Farmer's choice, Australian.
And Richard is cooking up a storm in the breakfast there. Really played up those eggs, so hope he lives up to it. No pressure. Here's the famous scrambled eggs.
Good.
They smell great. So I've just rinsed out the coffee pot, and the rules when you have a coffee plunger like this and you've got glass, when you swizzle it, the water around and you tip it out, you must put your thumb over top of the glass pot, because what happens when you throw it back out into the water, often this glass pot goes with it, and you'll either never see it again or you'll have to dive and dive and dive until you find it, which is what happened to us. But yeah, just a tip, lock on the thumb and then tip it out.
So we have 4.8 or 5 knots of boat speed, apparent wind angle of 39, 38 degrees in, well, it's 10 knots now, but it was about 8 knots just a second ago. Degrees apparent wind angle as you speed up a bit. 6.2 knots in 12 knots of boats of true wind speed. 6.3, 6.4, 6.5 and 11 knots. So more than 50% going up at 39 degrees of apparent wind. Knots in 5.3 knots. That is very, very good. And obviously we have the screecher and the main up. Pretty consistent, that. 4.3 knots and 5.4 knots of true wind speed. There's the true wind speed, 5.1. There's the boat speed, 4.2. And it's holding it steady. It's not a fluke or a transient thing. It's absolutely rock solid and steady. Off the stern. I'm going along at 5 knots. 4 knots, 4.3 knots and 5.3 knots. What amazing performance for a little 39 footer. Isn't that incredible? So these boats, and this boat is loaded, it's full of water, it's 3/4 full of fuel, and we've got a whole lot of gear on board for food and all that sort of stuff. So plus spare water and spare fuel, just in case we ran out. The wind's dropping again, 4.3 knots, so boat speed is dropping to 3.7. So there's the true wind speed, 4.6, here's the boat speed, 3.6. Dropping down proportionately. Around, I suppose, 75% of true wind speed. It's picked up to 5. Let's see how long boat speed takes to pick up. It's gone ahead of us a bit. Oh, wind's dropped again. 3.8 true wind, 3.4, 3.3 boat speed. That's a bit depressing. True wind's dropping now down to 3.4. The boat speed's dropped to 2.8, 2.7, as you'd expect as the wind drops. We're now doing wind speed, but that's the momentum from the boat, I'd say. As the wind speed drops, the boat keeps on going for a little while. Still, it's not bad, 3.6 knots. Of true wind, and we're doing 2.6 knots, so we're still moving without engines. So this is actually quite interesting. If you look at it a little bit laterally, we're sailing along here, some bits of wind, some patches with no wind at all. You can see like no wind there, no wind what have just come through back there. So it went down to about 2.5 knots there, but the boat kept on sailing at about 2 knots. Now we've got 4.6 knots of true wind and we're sailing along at 3.7 knots. And really what it made me think of was these boats sail around the world. And many 1160s, even the smaller, older, the original versions, have sailed around the world because they're able to do it. And one of the biggest challenges boats have when you're sailing around the world is going through the doldrums, where you have no wind over several hundred miles often. And having a boat that can perform like this, sailing at 3 or 4 knots in 4 or 5 knots of wind speed, is absolutely game-changing, because it means you don't have to run your engines. Of course, you're going to get there more slowly, but you can get through the 200 or 400 miles over a few days. Nice, steady progress. And usually the wind comes back eventually, but what this means is a small boat like this is actually very effective at sailing in light winds through the doldrums. You save your fuel, reduces your costs of running. It's just spectacular. The value of being able to sail in 5 knots or 4 knots of wind for a long distance cruiser is very important. Congratulations, Seawind. That is just amazing stuff, being able to perform in such light airs. I'm not having to do anything apart from staying out of the sun, so I don't get sunburnt. And I've taken my shirt off because it's so hot. This is our second last full day, unfortunately. I know. And we are sailing from this little island of Ngam, Ngam, across to the bottom of Ko Chek, the fishing village. At this side, it's only about 8 miles, and the wind strength is now 10 knots. But because it's such a short distance, we thought, well, what the heck, we'll just put out the screecher. It's pretty much a reach, so we thought we'd just put out the screecher and do it easy, because it's only going to be an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes depending on the boat speed. And we're doing 6.3 knots and 10 knots of wind, and I must say we were doing 6.3 knots when it was only 8 knots of wind too, so maybe I should look at the sail settings to make sure I have it trimmed properly. Ah yes, it needs to be pulled in a bit, but let's see how fast we can go just with the screecher. So these have little things that go in with that. The wind's dropping off again. God. So 8.8 knots, 9 knots of wind, and we're doing 6 knots with only the one sailor, the screecher, all by itself. We're doing it the lazy way, not putting up the main, but that would have obviously made us sail a bit faster. But when you're cruising, the difference of 10 or 15 minutes isn't that important. You kind of go easy, you know. I was kind of also curious to see what the boat would do under screecher alone. So there we are, 5.8 knots and 8.2 knots of true wind, and we are going along very well, considering that is the sail setting. Come back here, 5.7.
It's a Seawind kind of day. Well guys, after 2 weeks on the Seawind 1160 XL, we didn't just like it. We were genuinely surprised, weren't we?
Absolutely. Performance, seriously impressed. In light airs, this boat just goes like a bullet. It does 1 to 2 knots under wind speed, which is just amazing with the standard sails. And I reckon if you put on the spinnaker, we'd probably reach wind speed as well. It's also effortless. You put on the auto helm, you set the sails, and bang, you're away, and you don't need to do anything. The boat just goes.
And upwind, she tracks 45 degrees to the true wind and tacks easily thanks to the self-tacking jib.
No crew action needed at all. You just flick the steering wheel and over she goes, and then you do it again and backwards and forwards so easily.
Lovely.
And also generally she does about 60% of wind speed when sailing hard upwind.
But the standout is light wind performance.
Yeah, just amazing. In 6 knots of wind she would do 4 knots, and in 5 knots of wind she would sail at 3.3 knots. Just incredible. And even we were sailing at 2 knots in 3 knots of wind. So if you want to make those distances when you're crossing through the doldrums or light airs, when you're sailing around the world, this is truly impressive and is going to save you money because you don't use your fuel.
So John, what about the ease of sailing?
Oh look, it is so easy. The foresails are all on furlers, the main goes up really easily, but also this boat sails just with a foresail alone. So for example, we sailed with the screecher alone and we were doing 6 knots in 9 knots of wind. So if you want to do overnight passages and be absolutely safe if there's squalls around, you're still going to be making 6 or 7 knots with only the foresail up.
I know.
Fantastic. Now, we didn't hit any heavy weather to test it out in 25 knots or more, but there's plenty of evidence online that these boats sail at over 10 knots consistently when there's a good wind blowing. So that is great for long distance passage making. So here is the big question. Is the Seawind 1160 XL actually a performance catamaran? Well, that does really mean what is the definition of a performance cat? Now, previous subscribers have commented that their belief that the definition of a performance cat is one that can sail at wind speed. And while this isn't written anywhere, that's certainly his view. What is your view, guys? What is the definition, in your view, of what is a performance cat? What separates the production boats that are clearly not performance cats from the high-end racing gunboats that clearly are performance boats, but what is the cutoff in the middle? How do you define what a performance cat really is? So please make your comments down below. From my point of view, this boat is clearly not a heavy production boat, and this boat really moves. It sails in light airs, it goes upwind effectively at 45 degrees to the true wind. It certainly sails close to wind speed, and I reckon with a bit of tweaking you could get it to wind speed, but I believe this boat certainly is a high performing boat. And then the second question is, does the Seawind 1160 XL represent the best value for money for a high performing boat? So at around $440,000 US as the base price, it's really hard to beat. Space, performance, and value. Just incredible. And please let us know in comments, is there any other boat out there that can compete with this value on the market? Because we would be really interested to know.
So guys, drop your thoughts in the comments because we would love to hear what you think. So join us next week as we dive deeper into the wild, untouchable beauty of the Ko Chang region, island hopping, chasing hidden anchorages, and pushing the Seawind 1160 XL even further. Trust us, it only gets better from here. And as always, a huge thank you to our Patreons for your support for saving lives around the world.
And we'll see you in the next episode, guys.
Bye for now.
All the best.
So, Jem, what about the ease of sailing? So, John.